magic of the Cybernet Space Cube, the computer-enhanced podcast of the future. Transformers Slag Podcast.
What's up, everybody? How we all doing? Someone's joining us early this time around. Just jumped in my lap. How we all doing? It's the Transformers Slag Podcast starting live stream main event. I'm your host, Proto Man, with a creature joining us. I'm the face that runs this place. I'm the voice you hear Monday to Friday, and it is Saturday, and we are talking Transformers tonight while I have a cat's tail in my face. How we all doing? Last week we had conventions, so we didn't get to do a Saturday proper. We are back to our regularly scheduled program for the time being. I might have something in September. We have a little convention that we're going to be going to, and then we'll see from there. But otherwise, you're stuck with me for the time being. How we all doing? Who do we got in the chat today? We got Dark Angel. What's up? What's up? We got Mayoral Fabrication, Fawnheart. We got Nuru. That's a new one. I haven't seen you, Nuru. We got Young. What's up, Young? Patrick Brown. Who else is here? Let me just grab the other. We got here. James is here too. Fawnheart. Navio. T-Formers 2002. Rudy Mac. What's up, Rudy Mac? Bruticus 42. I just want to make sure I get everybody before I get Bigum. What's up, Bigum? Everyone's piling in now. Butters, you gonna let me be, or are you gonna chill? You gonna chill here? This guy, I swear. I swear. So, how we all doing? We are going to cover some news today. We got a lot to cover. Quite a bit to cover today. A lot of different stuff here and there. And we'll just take the news, talk about the news. We got some Michael Bay shenanigans probably happening. We'll take some super chats, and we'll just chill for the rest of this evening while I get absolutely covered in cat hair. We got some cool stuff we got in the mail too, and we picked up some things at cons. So, yeah, man, you could just see that hair everywhere, eh? Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. It's nuts. Anyway, so let's jump into it. I'm pretty sure a lot of people have things they want to talk about because there's a lot of news this week. So I'm not going to waste your time. We'll start first with some blocky stuff. Beautiful blocky stuff. Probably the blocky set I'm the most excited about for completely selfish reasons. But we get the Galaxy version Defender Wave 4 Tyrant's I forget what was it, Tyrant something. Tyrant Sphere? What was it called? I forget what it was called. Tyrant something. Tyrant's Fury. There we go. And yeah, a lot of new faces here. Not really feeling that Scourge, though, without his beard. That's kind of weird. Kind of teasing also at what's going to be our next combiner with that of the Brawl, with his little indication of a plug port for a foot there. We have a Shattered Glass Megatron, so for the Shattered Glass lovers, that's great. But the big takeaway from all of this is that despite the fact that this has combiners, Shattered Glass, a cursed-looking Scourge, a hologram Hound and everything, how about the fact that there's 4 different Rodimus, if you will, in this wave? My goodness, 2 of them are Chase, which is even more difficult for me. So there's going to be a Hot Rod, a Chase Rodimus with Matrix, a Alt Mode Rodimus, and then a Super Chase powered up Rodimus that's kind of hearkening to the Last Spot Standing book. So, man, oh man, that's going to be fun for me. I went from like almost no Rodimus or Hot Rod blockies at all to boom, here's one in the past wave, and then here's 4 in the next one. So it's going to be very heavy on that. I'm going to have to hunt all of these guys down. It's going to be pretty crazy. But hey, man, still looks great. I love blockies. I love building model kits. It's looking good, so I can't complain too much. And I mean, let's be honest, that Chase one there does look pretty hot. So I'm down for that, really much so. But yeah, absolutely. Oh, Butters, now you want to go. Oh, see, because we're talking about Hot Rod, now you're jealous, eh? All right, get out of here. He'll be back. They always come back. So yeah, so there's that, which is absolutely nuts. And I mean, man, those are gonna, man, just tracking down those chase ones is gonna be a headache. But either way, it is what it is. That's what happens when one of your favorite characters ends up being one of the more chase items. This reminds me all those many years ago, going all the way back to Act 2 PVCs of the PVC line, which was imported here as Heroes of Cybertron, where the Matrix Hot Rod Rodimus was the chase one. And no joke, I think I paid like $80 for it. Because back then it was like a hot ticket item in 2002. This is long before we had classics or even like a decent alternators line. So it is what it is. So begins that crazy journey of picking this thing up. But Blockies isn't done yet. We also have the Champion class giant model kit. This is 11 to 12 centimeters tall and super articulated, has LED lights of Transformers 1 Megatronus Prime. Looking really, really good, in my opinion. The only negative is, from what I've heard online from translations, this might be the very last blocky across all the different price points that is going to be Transformers 1 related. Which, if that's true, don't take my word for it. I'm just basing this off of a translation from a Chinese message board. But if that's true, that will be a shame because we are pretty Transformer 1 dependent on blockies, because on the Hasbro side of things, we might get one Studio Series item, maybe one or two items a year. So at least like with these blockies drops, we would get like 9 or 10 figures. But I think they're finally reaching their threshold of what they could do, at least with certain price points. And maybe they don't want to do all the 13. So it's just something where they're going to do Megatronus. Maybe they'll see, maybe if it sells crazy well, they might change their mind. Who knows? But yeah, man, still looking good. Champion class again is 11 to 12 centimeters Nuru, which is, if you own any of the, I wish I had my other blockies nearby. They're all in the glass case. Gosh, and you can't even see them from here. You can barely, man, you can't see them. If I'd have to mess with the camera, they're past my head over here. But they're about 12. I'd have to say about. I feel that this Megatronus would work in scale with the traditional blockies, only because I always imagine the original 13, like Aaron Archer said, being taller than the core characters. So that's one way to look at it. I think they'll work for a scale point of view. But at the same time, it's like, man, it sucks if they're not going to do more Transformer 1 characters. If that's true. Again, I'm just reading it off of what I read from a message board. No direct announcement from Blockies directly, unless that post was from a Blocky representative. But that's what I've been hearing online, and I hope that's not true. So we will see what pops with that. Tom Laney, what's up, man? And then we have another one here, the Champion class. And this one, if anything, is kind of rolling in to celebrate the soon-to-be 20th anniversary of our Michael Bay movies. We got a Champion class Dark of the Moon Jetwing Optimus Prime. Although this pretty much, with all the stuff that it comes with, it could also be your movie 2007 or Revenge of the Fallen Optimus Prime. And man, does he come with a lot of stuff. I'm not super crazy about movie designs. I pick this and that, and some movie designs I like, but this one I want to pick up just because this would be like the ultimate model kit movie Optimus Prime figure. And that would be pretty fun to build. And considering how much crazy stuff he comes with, you cover a good gamut of at least the first 3 movies in terms of accessories and weapons and stuff like that. And he looks great. He looks really, really good. And it's probably going to be really fun to build. I mean, I love what Blockies has been doing up to this point. But then again, I'm a big model kit person. So I always enjoy the process of building these characters that I like, because you get a little extra connection with them. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Comes all the way back from my Gundam days and stuff. So looks really good. I dig it. And hopefully we get more info on these, because we don't have prices and we don't have release dates yet. Although someone said that the Optimus is already out there. So, I mean, wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me. The advertisement comes from China. Wouldn't be surprised me if everything else comes from China too, like it's already in distribution and stuff. So we'll see. We will see. What's up, Guillaume? How we doing? And then we have also this side. These photos are actually mine. Went to Walmart yesterday. Did some toy hunting, which I'll show what I picked up yesterday. And these I've never seen before, and no one's ever reported it. So I took some photos and posted them. Nothing too major. These are just licensed item from World Tech Toys. They do a lot of electronics and licensed Hasbro stuff. And these are like SD scale, 8-inch tall, dancing and LED light Transformer toys. Optimus Prime, Megatron, Bumblebee, done in that authentic / Generation 1 kind of looking style. It's nothing major. It's nothing to write home about, but if you're a fan of one of these characters and you want to have a little light up Optimus on your desk that's kind of cute and jams around, hey, it's out there. These were listed Canadian $24.97, so $25. I'm going to take a guess, probably if these show up in the States in your Walmart, I'm going to take a guess into that $17 to $19 USD range. That's what I'm guessing. I could be wrong, might even be cheaper. But yeah, it is what it is. I just like to document it just to put it out there so that if there is people who are interested, it's something that's there, you know, something that's there. I'm surprised they didn't do like a sound wave because, something that's like dancing and sounds and lights, Soundwave is like made for that kind of stuff. But sure, I guess they wanted to go with B instead. And maybe if this does well and they do like a second wave, it'll be Soundwave, Starscream, and Grimlock for sure. You know how it is. But that is that. And then, of course, let's talk about fiction that's been happening over the past couple of weeks. We have a brand new Cyberworld episode and then a brand new Wild King episode. So we'll start with the Cyberworld one because that was the one that we just saw recently. And next episode of Cyberworld, this was episode 5. It featured Optimus Prime, Elita 1, and Bumblebee. And the grand debut of at the time, on the fence kind of character of Mirage. Mirage has always been one of those characters through different iterations of fiction of, oh, is he a traitor? Is he not a traitor? And, adding that extra element that he technically is a seeker mold because he shares a mold with Starscream, that he could also be, oh, maybe he's on the bad guy side and he's working with Skybite. So that's a cool little fun element. Again, 5-minute episode, not really much in terms of story, but they definitely pack a lot in there. And it was fun. It was fun. At the end of the day, 5 minutes and I smiled and I laughed and it was fun. Can't complain with that. Would I've preferred if they were 22-minute deep episodes explaining the deep lore of what's going on in the cyber world and trying to get into Cyber City? Of course. Of course I would like that. But this is what they're going with for now. Who knows? Maybe if the toy sales are good, maybe if the views on these 5-minute episodes are good, they could return back to a normally scheduled program outside of what Robert Kirkman is cooking up on the streaming services. T-Formers 2002 with the YouTube member question, perfect for the animated dancing toy Soundwave. Exactly. It's exactly what I just said, T-Formers. Like, I think that thing could have been better for a Soundwave. Or even remember they had the Cyber Stomp Bumblebees? Not the Cyber Stomp. What was the Beat Mix? It was Beat Mix Bumblebee. They did like a 2007 Bumblebee toy based off of the movie Bumblebee where you plugged in your MP3 player and it would play music and it would dance and it would light up and stuff. I still have that somewhere. I actually bought that during my insanity of buying every single Michael Bay movie toy back in 2007 before I wised up. So it is what it is. But yeah, so that's pretty cool with Cyberworld. Pretty decent episode, good voice acting. And then we get to Wild King on the bottom there. And don't want to spoil too much with it, but it was Captain Volca and Megatron beating the hell out of each other. It was kind of like a flashback episode establishing how they created their connection and stuff. And the only big takeaway from it is Megatron is slowly getting infected by the dark energy. And we're going to find out what happens with that. And it gives some fiction and light to the black repaint that is currently available in Japan. And they gave the teaser for the next episode, Proof of the Brave. That's literally how it translates. Proof of the Brave is going to be airing September 23rd, so quite a bit of time away. But September 23rd for at least Eastern Standard Time in the West, 9 p.m. And of course in Japan, it'll be September 24th, 10 a.m. Japan time. So we'll have to wait quite a bit before we get the next Wild King episode. But we'll have plenty of Cyberworld episodes in between that in the time being. Speaking of fiction, we also have more fiction. A test reel for My Nezha and Transformers, which was that early 2019, never got off the ground, Chinese exclusive Cyberverse crossover series. A test reel finally leaked online of the first 10 minutes of the test reel. We've seen through trailers and commercials that there's way more footage than what this test reel had. So we get the first 10 minutes of what would have been, I guess, like a pilot, if anything, for this series. And it is currently out there. It is public. Someone uploaded it, and it's very easy to find if you look for it. Um, it's in Chinese completely, so it's not subtitled just yet. But if it's something where, hey, I really liked, that old Cyberverse cast of Autobots and Decepticons, here's a little bit of supplemental material at the end of the day, because this was kind of like a little spin-off series that technically when this was like originally created, this was something that was supposed to happen between season 2 and season 3 of Cyberworld. It was just a little spin-off series where they get sucked into another, I guess we'll call it like universe or continuity. And then they cross over, and the Autobots meet Nezha, who's the super overpowered ancient Chinese folklore character that right now actually has a big budget movie that people could watch on streaming service. I think Nezha 2 is out right now. I know I keep seeing the commercials for it everywhere. So, yeah, just wanted to point that out there. Even more Transformer fiction in a micro kind of thing that's out there if you want to watch a 10-minute little pilot of what would have been. This was supposed to come out again. The marking here says 2019 07 29. I think it was supposed to come again during 2020, but then you know what happened in 2020, and it got a little messy, especially on that other side of the globe. So let's just say, yeah, that put that on ice, and the toy line, and any other plans. I mean, if I remember correctly, there was like plans for like a full TV series and full run episodes of 22 minutes, the whole thing. I miss Cyberverse. I actually liked Cyberverse quite a bit. And I've said this many times before. Its only weakness was its 10-minute runtime, where everything else for it was going on. Cyberverse had no human characters, which made for 100% Transformer stories and really good characterization and great voice acting and great storytelling. And I mean, it was just really fun. And season 3 really found its place, especially by the time they got to season 3, the characters were really like, they really found their place in character development and storytelling and voice acting. And kind of a shame that it ended, and it's kind of a shame that it didn't you know, it didn't find its place as a long form kind of TV series where it could have been 22 minutes and tell long stories and stuff. But it was still great. I think the only other negative was it's unfortunate that most of the line was gimmick based, and all the more high end deluxes didn't really find their place until much later in the toy line's lifespan. And by then, they only did so many characters. You could only do so many deluxes when it's on the tail end of the line. So at least RC, Hot Rod, Optimus, Bumblebee, Megatron. It still perplexes me how Windblade didn't get a proper figure, despite the fact she was the main character of the show. But I mean, it obviously goes into the boys' toys versus girl toys mentality, and I kind of understand that because in the tail end of Cyberverse, when it went into clearance, RC and Windblade were some of the more common carded figures that you could find. Her Warrior class and RC's Deluxe class. So the numbers don't lie, unfortunately. Even though I love those characters and I love those figures, the audience just didn't turn out for it, unfortunately. So it is what it is. What I like and what sells are two vastly different things, and I will always recognize that. And I always hope other people would recognize that too. But yeah, man, we got Cyberverse, Windblade and other stuff afterwards through our more generations flavored lines, but it would have been nice to have something when the show was still on the air. That's something I can't stress enough. You have to have the show on the air and the product in stores simultaneously, because in this fast moving world today, you want to get those impulse sales as quick as possible to happen. So, but hey, we got this. If you want a little bit of extra Cyberverse, even if it's in Chinese and you can't understand it, you know, T-Formers 2000, Ollie still has tons of those mini slipstreams. Oh, that's too bad. And those slipstreams, they don't even transform either. That's the worst part. Man, they had a whole price point of half transforming Transformers, which was not a good idea. Again, the way the line was rolled out, 50% of it was just, yeah. It was what it was, unfortunately. Let's get into the fan vote. So, fantastic news. The heated craziness that was going on this past week. We had Mirage versus Grimlock. We had Starscream versus Shockwave. Mirage lost to Grimlock, which I was not surprised at all, even though I voted for Mirage. And then when Starscream was going to go up against Shockwave, I was going to vote for Shockwave, but I had a feeling that Starscream was going to win. I was happy to be completely wrong. The fans showed up and made sure Shockwave would win against Starscream. And then when Shockwave went up against Grimlock, again, I was like, oh man, maybe those Grimlock people who voted for him are going to show up for this. Nope. Shockwave won, and he is going to be our activate your alt mode fan vote character. And then Nate from marketing did a little post on Instagram talking more about what's happening with activate your alt mode, and looking all snazzy with his military uniform there, and giving us some very important dates to make note of and some very important information. So first of all, again, round 2 will be starting for the voting August 18th to the 21st. It'll be a couple of days that you could tabulate and put in your voting. To stress again how the voting is done, because I know a lot of people have been confused about it, especially I was seeing it in my comments. You have to have an Instagram account. And when the voting goes live, you have to go into that specific image post of the voting and then leave a comment or try to leave a comment. And what it does is it pulls up then the poll. And when it pulls up the poll, then you could click on who you want to vote for. In this case, what are going to be the next stuff, because round 2, R2 here, August 18th to the 21st, is going to be the voting for the alt mode category, land, sea, air, or wild card. And so they're going to see which one of those categories happen. And then the round 2 winner, R2W, will be on August 22nd. They'll say which category won. But then here's the more important information. I'm going to blow this up for a moment because this is the most important part of it, is Nate really specified, depending on which category wins, what the voting is going to be. So if land wins, you'll have a choice between a creature, a truck, a train, or a supercar. If sea wins, it'll be a choice between a speedboat, a submarine, a creature. And it's funny, he says no fan art. I think because he saw, I have a feeling Nate probably saw my segment where it was the shockwave that turns into a whale or something. Because there's a lot of overlapping there, but either way. And a hoverboat. And then the air one is jet, helicopter, creature, and airship. And the wild card one could be a weapon, a starfighter, a creature, or a device. I find that one weird, wild card with creature. I guess, I don't know, maybe like an alien creature or something, like something that's really off the wall that doesn't fall into like land, sea, air, earth-based stuff. Because I'm like, what's a wild card creature? Do you count plants? Is that a creature? I don't know, like a Venus flytrap. Either way, so that kind of gives us an idea of things. So again, hypothetically, let's say sea wins as a category, then you'll have a choice between a speedboat shockwave, a submarine shockwave, some kind of creature shockwave, or a hoverboat shockwave. I know when they said here train for land, I was like, man, imagine like a shockwave bullet train with just a giant shockwave eye on the front of the train. That'd be crazy. So that gives you a bit of an idea. And then, of course, let me just scroll this down here. So then, of course, Marker Evan will then create an all new concept based on the results. And they'll have like a good half a month to kind of put it together. And then on Transformer Day, September 17th, will be when that will be revealed to us. And we'll find out what category won and what's going to be happening. So all we know is Shockwave. That's all we know right now. August 22nd, we'll know what the category is. And then August 25th to the 28th is when we could do the voting for which one in that category will happen. I'm hoping for creature. More beast stuff would be pretty cool. It would just be nice to see, again, a traditionally Generation 1 character that up to this point has had a few different alt modes to finally get something that's more beast related. Because Shockwave has been a weapon. Shockwave has been some kind of starfighter flight element thing. Shockwave has been a car, even with alternators. You know, Shockwave has been a lot of different things. It'd be kind of cool to see him as something like, let's say, again, a beast element kind of stuff. That'd be pretty cool. And don't say Onyx Prime and spoil people with the IDW comics, but You know what I mean. You know what I mean. It is what it is. Yeah, I know. Imagine the end. It's what. Wouldn't that be ironic? Wouldn't it be ironic? It's like the wild card wins, the weapon category wins, and we just get a shockwave that turns into a weapon, and then we've just absolutely learned nothing. That would just be terrible. That would just be absolutely terrible. That's like a Grimlock winning, and everyone just wants a dinosaur. Oh my goodness, that would just be terrible. In a lot of ways, I'm happy, that Shockwave won because at least he has a little more flexibility. But yeah, man, it is what it is. So check that out, and those are the important dates. So make a note of that because that's going to be happening very soon. The voting beginning next week. So check that out, yo. And then we have the big one here, the movie talk, and it's Paramount and Skydance, they recently just announced their new CEO of the entire company. David Ellison is the new CEO, and he did a little bit of a statement and a report, and it led to a whole bunch of very interesting information being said. Let's get to Alden Tolbert's super chat, though, first, and then we'll get into that. You got a $5 super chat from Alden, and it says here, got a gut feeling that Shockwave's alt mode is either a Spino or the G1 laser gun. It will be a fan war for the next weeks. Yeah, the Spinosaurus one, I heard a lot of people suggesting that one. But again, at the end of the day, it really is up to the voting. So there's what we want, and then there's what the majority of the audience will want. And I can't predict it. Because, I mean, if you wanted me to ask in my stomach who was going to win, it was going to be Starscream or Grimlock. Luckily, Shockwave, who's my favorite of all the four there, won. So I'm very happy with that. But what he'll turn into, I don't know. I can't predict that. What I would like, I don't want to say because I don't want to influence things, but there is a lot of interesting ideas that people have been putting out there. But thank you for the super chat, Alden. Getting back to the Hollywood Reporter here. So again, David Ellison made this interesting statement of like, Skydance and Paramount has all these great brands that they're kind of just sitting on that are dormant, and then these other movie brands that need a better chance, that need better marketing and a better opportunity. And Transformers was named twice, where it was just like, they want to do 15 to 20 movies a year, and Transformers was named there. So that's something where it's like, oh man, like for sure now there's definitely something cooking. Because for them to do 15 or 20 movies, and G.I. Joe is also listed there, and then you have all the Michael Bay rumors, there's definitely something cooking here that's going to be probably announced in the near future. So what that is, we don't know. I mean, again, there's what I want, and then there's what's good for business. What I would want, a sequel to Transformers 1. What's good for business? Probably something in that live action category that might even be involving Michael Bay. Because if you look at historically up to this point, the Michael Bay live action movies make money. Are they any good? That could be debatable, but they do make money. And the sad truth is, when you're talking with these movie studios, is their job is to make money, regardless if these are good or not. So it's something that you end up in a situation where you just have to kind of deal with the reality that these companies are going to have to go in those directions regardless of what we would like as hardcore fans. It's the unfortunate truth. But I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Regardless of how bad some of these movies could be, and even if you don't like Michael Bay movies, the success of the 2007 movie and the even bigger success of the Revenge of the Fallen and Dark of the Moon movie in terms of the finance led to more opportunities in the toy space, in the marketing space, in the legacy space of other areas. That money from the Hollywood stuff makes the brand more well-known. It makes it more of a pop culture icon. And then Hasbro has this extra money that they could make that then could go into more generation stuff. Look, we ended up getting fantastic classics, universe, generations figures born out of the success of those Michael Bay movies. Masterpiece toys. I could go on and on. Look, stuff like all the TV series, Like a lot of those were born out of the goodwill and the finance that came from it. Even if those movies aren't that great, and I know there's a segment of the audience that loves those Michael Bay movies because that's what they grew up with, and then there's a segment of the audience that thinks they're the worst thing ever. I'm kind of in the middle because again, I look at the business side of it and then I look at like the rational side of it of like what I enjoy. I mean, to me, like if you look at all the modern movies, Transformers 1 is just above and beyond all of them. And then the 2007 movie is like a distant second place. And then I guess Rise of the Beast kind of gets it, gets the win from me. I think I put Rise of the Beast in there only because there actually was character development for the robots. And then after that, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe Dark of the Moon. I don't know. That's like a four-way tie between Revenge of the Fallen, Dark of the Moon, Age of Extinction, and The Last Night. Like, really has to do how I feel that day. And even Dark of the Moon sometimes. I know a lot of people like Dark of the Moon, but even me, I'm kind of like, I don't know. But it is what it is. It is what it is. I know there's two different camps. I get it, you know, but again, we'll see what happens. But if I'm in that boardroom, like no joke, guys, Proto Man's in the boardroom with these guys, David Ellison, the crew, and they ask like, "What would you want to do, Proto Man?" And I would be honest with them. I'd be like, "Look, as much as I would love a sequel to Transformers One, no one showed up, and that's an unfortunate thing. No one showed up. If we did a sequel, I'd hate to say it, it would just be diminishing returns, where whatever we made with Transformers 1 would probably be less with Transformers 1, 2, whatever you want to call it. Raid of the Quintessons. I have the script in my mind of what that would have been. But, it's something that it's unfortunate. So it would have to be a live action movie. Before Transformers 1 even came out, and I stated this before and I'll state it again, my biggest fear was there's a huge segmentation of the moviegoer audience that just don't watch cartoons. They don't like animated movies. And it's the same thing. Transformers, the success that it had was because it was live action movies, and people who would have normally not watched a cartoon or an anime or a CG movie, they would at least be willing to watch a live action movie. It's the same thing how Spider-Man live action movies make much more money than the Spider-Verse movies, even though they're technically owned by the same company, coming out on the same movie theaters, more or less in the same time span, and it just less people tune in for it. So I know there's a lot of heated discussion about that. Guillaume, 2007 movie is great. Revenge of the Fallen is where I fall out. Again, that's in my opinion. I've always shared that sentiment too. Of the Bay movies, 2007 is probably the best one, but that's also because there was, Spielberg was a lot more involved with that. There was a lot more on the line, so they had to really make a good beginning, middle, and end movie. Unfortunately, Revenge of the Fallen was born out of the writer's strike of 2008. And because of the writer's strike of 2008 and the movie being put together, no joke, script wise, in almost 2 weeks in a hotel room, really told movie companies and Hollywood and the big execs, oh, we put this movie together very quickly during the writer's strike and it still made more money than the first one that had more Spielberg influence. So actions speak louder than words with these corporate guys. You can never forget that. That's why I always say vote with your dollar, because at the end of the day, that's the only thing they're going to listen to. And it'll always be like that. Always, always, always. Yeah, like T Former said, a lot was going on behind the scenes. The writer's strike hurt a lot of things. And then, obviously Orsi and Kurtzman were then taken away from those movies. And then you had the guy who was like, he wrote like the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. He did Dark of the Moon. So it was it was a tough one. Patrick Brown with the YouTube member question. I want to see the end of Unicron and Earth's core for TF6. Well, that's one thing I'm surprised is that, they did say in that statement that there was like scripts and stuff of incomplete projects and everything. They didn't specify Transformers, but there is scripts. So it's something where maybe there is a Transformers 6 with Michael Bay all over it with, Quintessa and the core of Unicron and all that stuff. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Maybe it'll happen. Weirder things have happened, in Hollywood. we are now conditioned to accept multiverses and different continuities and different things like that, that it doesn't surprise me where I think audiences, now they could just Google and look up. And yeah, sure, you shouldn't have to make audiences do their homework, but there's a small conditioning that's going on there where you could almost kind of do that kind of stuff today. So it is what it is. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. I mean, it's a complicated one because I know what'll be the better business side of it, but I also feel that it's going to be like, eh, eh. It is what it is. It is what it is. I would prefer a Transformers 1 sequel for my own selfish needs, but I don't think it would make money, unfortunately. I really don't. And it could have everything, which, I mean, that first movie was amazing. It had everything we could ever want, and it just wasn't enough for the moviegoers. They've already checked out. I do have this theory where if we do another live action movie with Michael Bay and it does very well, let's say people come back, it's well received by at least the commoners, if you want to use that term, the civilians, the casual fans, then maybe we could take a risk again. Maybe the Michael Bay movie doing well could make them go, okay, Michael Bay movie did well. Maybe the next movie we could do a Transformers 1 sequel because now we have the goodwill of the audience back, and then we could get them to go back and watch on Paramount Plus Transformers 1 and then go see the sequel. I'm hoping. That's just me, trying to stir the pot of goodwill and hope that kind of all works out. But we'll see. We will see. T-Formers 2002, unless I'm just forgetting something about the obvious. Transformers has a multiverse since 2008 with Shattered Glass. I mean, the multiverse starts even before that. I mean, you could technically argue the moment that we had the Marvel comic books continuity, that was, and we're talking back in 1984, that's when the multiverse starts, because then you have the UK books and what was going on with those continuities, and then the different continuities within the UK books with Galvatron from the cartoon continuity going back in time and fighting Rodimus from the comic book continuity. Like that existed since the 80s, you know? So we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. It's something that I'm sure we're going to have much deeper discussions about it in the near future for sure. For sure. Just let me know what you think because it's definitely a deeper conversation. Sarah says, I don't give two flips about movies. We're bad as long as the toys are good. Well, again, good, movies doing successfully lead to good toys. That's just how it is. Movies not doing successfully don't necessarily lead to good toys. They play it safe with more chintzy kind of toys, as we use the term. So we'll see. We'll see. Do want to say also again, thanks to anyone who showed up again last weekend. We didn't have the live stream on Saturday because I was at Otakuthon Montreal. Man, I think 22,000 people showed up at that show. It was crazy how busy that show was. Easily, like, man, I don't care what anyone says. It's easily the biggest show in Montreal in terms of diversity and all kinds of cool stuff you could do there. Definitely bigger than Montreal Comic Con. It's the second biggest anime convention in North America for sure. And man, it was great. It was great. Great turnout. All the Mega Man comic books that I wrote sold out very quickly. Got to meet a whole bunch of cool people. Got to meet a whole bunch of fans. I did 2 different panels that weekend. It was really, really fun. And I think like I even got to get a little bit of a grail for myself that weekend because Ryotaro Uki, the voice of Proto Man, was there that weekend. The Japanese voice of Proto Man was there. So I got to get his autograph. But he wasn't only just the Japanese voice of Proto Man, and this is pure coincidence, because he was also the Japanese voice of Rodimus Convoy from Super Link. So I got his autograph on that one too. So it was very cool. Nice little grails to go to the collection. I have almost every Proto Man autograph now, both English and Japanese. I'm just missing a few dudes here and there. And when it comes to Japanese Rodimus voice actors, I'm just missing a few guys here and there that are still with us. So, but again, thank you everyone who came to the con, who picked up comics, and all the love and support and everything. That was really cool, y'all. And just everyone hanging out at the con. The Gundam crew, shout out to all of them. and just hanging out with them and everything. And I hope to do more in the future with Otakuthon and potentially bring some Hasbro and Takara people down. That's kind of the plan for the long term for next year. So stay tuned for that if you are in the Eastern Canada area. Stay tuned for that. And that's it more or less for the news. We'll do some sponsor stuff, and then we'll show some cool things that I got here and there. Did I bring down? Oh, yeah, I brought down the other stuff. So a lot of cool stuff. And first, let's get into the sponsorship. So we got Symbiote Studios. Here's some of their new stock right now on their website. I'm rocking their Grimlock shirt today. And this is all that's available. Their Soundwave Superior has recently sold out extremely quickly. They will be restocking it at the end of August, so stay tuned for that. They're going to be restocking some of the other inventory too. Just stuff sold out very quickly. Again, San Diego Comic-Con was an absolute unit. So much stuff sold out there that it was just hard to keep up, if anything. And again, here's everything else that's going to be coming in the near future. Of course, we have the super plushes, as I like to call them, the Commander Optimus Prime, the Scheming Starscream, and the Brave Bumblebee. These will be coming to their web store hopefully before the end of the year. These are the large scale, like the Soundwave Superior. These were shown off at San Diego Comic-Con. So stay tuned for those. And of course, the last of the Dinobots, Swoop will be joining the Dinobots also before the year is up. All of these will probably be available by TFCon LA next year. So just stay tuned for that. And those will all be available. And it'll be pretty awesome. So check those out. SymbioteStudios.com. Here's all their pony stuff, which I've yet to update. And then here is all their miscellaneous stuff, which I have yet to update. But at least you got all the Transformer stuff if you are interested to pick up that Shockwave. That Shockwave is amazing. And the Dinobots don't need love. They always sell well. At San Diego, people would buy all four in a sitting, no problem. So very cool stuff. Again, check out SymbioteStudios.com for your plush, pins, and t-shirts of the robots in the skies. And this guy's sold out, unfortunately, but you snooze, you lose. That's how it is. Maybe they'll do a reissue in the future. We'll see. Maybe a superior Rodimus. We'll see. We will see what happens with that. And of course, you got the Toy Armada. Check out the Toy Armada. We put out our latest episode talking about Transformers Universe. We go into the history of that line and all the little ideas and everything, repaint choices. Robert Parrish, who did all the cool deco hits on stuff. A lot of great stuff. We even talk about the Aveo Swerve because that was technically the very last Universe figure ever planned. So we go through the history of why that thing happened, which has a little bit of movie, ties to it too. So very, very cool. Check that out. And if you love Aaron Archer and all this stuff, check out his Posca paintings. Here's the new collection that are on the website right now, archermonster.com/shop. So you got some thrusts there, both in his Power Link and regular version. You got Scavenger, you got the Wolverine crossovers, a whole bunch of different ones here. One of one original painted art on the original instructions. You can also pick up his art book too on the website. A lot of really good stuff there. Very, very cool. Check it out, yo. And last but not least, we also have the binstudios.iwarp.com Unicron upgrade kit. Check that out. I know some people that recently picked some up, so they're very happy with them. So check that out. binstudios.iwarp.com. Get your Unicron wing or ring upgrade kit. Turn 2 into 1, so you don't have to buy a second Unicron and bust the bank. And of course, my Mega Man comic book. Go to udonentertainment.com if you want to buy it online. All the different covers are available. Maybe your local comic book store might have it, but we do have our ongoing series that will be coming out in November. So go into your local comic book store and say, "Hey, I want the Udon Mega Man X timelines ongoing or Mega Man X ongoing," and they'll put it in your pull bin. And then you might even be able to pick up some other really cool covers too in the near future. And that's it, more or less. I know that we had a YouTube member question from, I think it was Victory. He wanted to know what we had for dinner today. Me and the wife, we went out for sushi. We haven't had sushi in a while, so we went out for sushi together. So I made sure to plan a photo for you guys if you ask this question. So just had some good sushi. Me, I like the spicy salmon roll. I like the barbecue eel. Uh, I like the dragon eye. I like the kamikaze roll. People are curious what I order usually. Um, what else do I normally get? I get a little bit of everything. I'm not picky. It's good stuff. You got ice cream on the right there, the mango and the vanilla ice cream to top it all off in the end. Good stuff. Good stuff. Love me my sushi. I don't want to make people hungry at this hour. I apologize, but when the question comes up, when the question comes up, Sarah, are you talking about Swerve, uh, Idol of Millions? I'm talking about the Aveo Swerve, the Aveo one. So let's get into what we got this week. First, from the only thing that I really got outside of those autographs from Otakuthon, this I got from Pulse Dragon. I was missing one of my Shy Guys. This is the green version. They're just repainting the hell out of him, aren't they? So I got green Shy Guy. So that's pretty cool. Thank you, Pulse Dragon, for finding that in the wild for me. That was very cool. What I got otherwise outside of that, when I was at Walmart, I was trying to hunt down some of the smaller price point Cyberworld stuff because those are relatively affordable. And I picked up the Mega Bull Megatron. I will say one thing, messing with him, great figure, very fun. I like the just kind of the auto transform kind of thing going on there. I always appreciate that kind of engineering. But I will say something truly a product of its time. Very small, this figure. I mean, this is my hand. And granted, I have big hands. I'm a 6'1" guy, but very tiny, almost on the verge of what I would call a core class. And I just have a feeling that if this kind of figure and this kind of concept would have came out maybe 15 years earlier, this would have been a much larger figure, even if it had the same engineering. But I still dig it. Still pretty cool. Nice quick transformation. I bought it because, hey, it's a Megatron that turns into a bull. So that's like an original kind of idea. And I hope one day maybe they'll do a more modern version of it or a classics generations kind of vibe. But I couldn't argue with the price. Some of the Cyber World stuff were on sale. So I picked it up at your local Walmart. And if you're part of the Transformer Slag Discord and Patreon, we post sales when we see them. So that is that. So I mean, I dig him. He's fun. Just kind of wish he was bigger. Kind of wish he was bigger. I wish I had just to show. Here's one of our deluxes. And Sea Spray is one of the smaller ones, and he's much larger. This is very much like a core class item at the end of the day. So it is what it is, unfortunately, but still pretty cool. I'm going to try to track down Mirage now. Now that I saw him in the show, I'm kind of like, maybe I want Mirage now. Fiction dictates purchases. If a character is cool in the show, maybe I want to own his toy, where if he's not even featured in the show, sometimes I'm not as interested. It's just how it is. Rudy Mack with the $5 super chat. It's inspiring to see you hustling hard, merging your hobbies, your knowledge, and your hobby and commerce. Keep doing the thing and keep thriving. Well, thank you, Rudy Mack. A big part of why I've had these opportunities in life is because I always have a business mind. I'm a crazy hardcore Transformer fan. Long before I had any of these opportunities to work with the brands or Mega Man or otherwise, I was known in the fandom as the guy with the crazy collection and the guy with the crazy knowledge, the living wiki. That was always what I was known for in the Transformer community. And you combine that with the business acumen and understanding the brand from a business side of things, and what made the podcast unique from other content creators, that always helped me a lot with getting those opportunities and stuff like that. And again, it's a shout out to, being under the wing of very talented individuals, whether it be from the artistic creative side of it, being the Alex Milnes, the Josh Perez's, having those guys who have always been very helpful. The artistic comic book business side of it, being the Matt Moylans and stuff like that. And then on the other side of it, from the toy side, the Aaron Archers, the John Wardens, and just having really good connections with Evan, Mark. You can't forget BMAC. Can't forget Nate. Even Emily, who's pretty cool. It's very nice all the stuff that she's done. So it's like having those good connections and those good relationships, and you learn from those people. You know, so the hustle part is just something that's always been in my DNA. I mean, I could tell you stories from high school, but uh, Sarah wants to know, is the plastic feel gummy? No, this is all. I wish you could hear it. This is hard ABS plastic. It's really tough. No gummy areas on it at all. Not even the bull parts. These are all like solid. Only a couple deco hits. You have like the gold paint on there for the deco hit. They don't finish the feet there. The deco hits of gold on the horns and the face, and that's really it. And I mean, transformation is just literally look. You just like you push that down. You bring these legs back and you connect them, and then you take this weapon and you turn into the bull tail, and that's pretty much it. It's very simple. And again, I accept it for what it is, but it's still fun. And it's something that I appreciate fun, and it's affordable, and I just hope kids want to buy it. And I mean, sure, like, here's a Wild King Captain Volca, and here's a Cyberworld item, and they're kind of more or less, he's a little shorter, and Captain Volca has more parts and pieces. But what's interesting is Megatron here has the same plug points like all of these Cyberworld items. So check this out, which makes me wonder about development. Cyberworld. Okay. Huh. I don't know. Sometimes I wonder, maybe when development was happening. Because look, it goes on the back too, you know? There's a lot of plug ports on this guy, as if he could have been, or maybe when these were originally being planned, because he's an early item, maybe it could have been something that was part of the same DNA. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? But that is something to make a note of when you pick up your Cyberworld figures, is there might be a little bit of Wild King DNA going on there that maybe just never found the end. Because look, they're very blatantly on the side there and on the back. So, but yet it's not part of the play pattern at all. So we'll see. We'll see. Obviously, there's weapons that come with the weapon characters, but that is something to make note. That is very interesting, but still fun. Still fun. No complaints. Again, it's on sale right now. Sale will probably end Thursday coming up. Walmart Canada, anyhow. I'm going to try to track down Mirage. Now that I saw him in the show, I'm like, got to go back now to Walmart and pick up a Mirage. So yeah, yeah. And thank you, Rudy Mack, for the super chat, my man. Thank you, thank you. Uh, where we at? Where we at? I don't want to lose anything. Oh yeah. So what else did I get? So outside of this guy right here, you know, outside of this guy, we also got a very interesting item. This was something that I was following this guy on Instagram that was working on a pitch for a project to be sold locally at different toy stores and everything. And I just want to make sure I give him all his credit. So it's a YouTube an Instagram account called Console Heroes, and it's a company called Wilder Toys, and it's a guy. He was doing 3D printing of stuff, and he was playing with all these ideas, and then he finally got the rights through Sega to do these little like Polly Pocket Mighty Max kind of play sets. So I went to Walmart looking for Transformers Cyberworld stuff, and all of the stuff was there. So what it is essentially is this is the big set. This is like the big set where you get a Sega Genesis. And I'm not a big Sega guy. I was a Super Nintendo kid, but I can't deny just cool stuff that's video game merch. It's a Sega Genesis that opens up, and it's a play set that you could put a whole bunch of figures in. And what's cool about it is it comes with, let me show you, it comes with a Sonic game, Sonic 1. You can put it in there if you want, but plug it in. Oh, isn't that cool? But this Sonic playset also opens to make a little pocket playset. And it comes with a bunch of figures. It comes with Sonic. It comes with Dr. Eggman here, and it comes with a bunch of pieces you could put, and you make these little play sets. So they're very cool. I've saw these are at Walmart right now. This is the super villain bundles. So you get like Mr. X from Streets of Rage, you get the Deathbringer from Golden Axe, you get Metal Sonic, you get the Egg Robot, you get a whole bunch of the baddies there, and it comes with the Sonic 1. So you get that too with this console. It's very cool. Very, very cool. But they also had all the upgrade ones. So you get Sonic 2, which comes with Tails and Sonic. You get Sonic 3, that comes with Knuckles and Sonic. And I think that's one of the stages from Sonic 3, I want to be sure. The other one was Emerald Hill for sure. So very cool. And by the way, these are like 15 USD each. They're not too expensive. This one's really awesome. Altered Beast. Very cool. The first level with the wolf mode and the boss from Altered Beast. Very cool. And last but not least, get some Capcom action. Super Street Fighter, the new challengers. You get Ken and Ryu at Ken's stage there with a Hadouken and everything. These are really cool. These are really, really cool. I dig these a lot. I love micro play sets. I love Mighty Max and Polly Pocket stuff like that. And I love video game merchandise. So this kind of merges all the things that I like into one thing. And when you get all those characters, you then could build this, and then you could kind of like open this all up and then put all the figures on display, and very cool. Oops, just took that off. But yeah, very, very cool. Very, very cool. I dig it. Very cool. So Console Heroes, if you're interested, they're in Walmart right now. Very cool. They were in the toy section. I was expecting something like this to be in the video game collector section. So very, very cool. The Altered Beast one is really awesome because I've been buying the Altered Beast action figures. You guys have probably saw over the past couple of weeks from Jazzware. But very cool. Very cool. I was a Super Nintendo kid growing up, but I had two friends that were the Sega kids growing up. My friend Joshua, and my friend Clinton. So I'd go to their houses and I would play Altered Beast, and I'd play Streets of Rage, and Sonic 2 at the time was his game that he had. So I like them. I think they're cool. I think they're really cool. And if they do more, I'm down for it. They're not that expensive either. And Console Heroes, they recognize that they're a new company, so they're willing to probably be a little cheaper so that people will buy their stuff, and, less profit, but more notoriety. That's the smart way to do it in business. So I'm down for that. Down for that. Check it out. Check it out. And also it comes with, here, I'll show you guys. Also comes with a little tray that you could put all your games in afterwards. So like, here's like, the Metal Sonic and the Deathbringer from Golden Axe. Mr. X. I'm pretty sure they're probably going to do a good guy bundle in the future, and they'll have maybe the Streets of Rage people and everything. Maybe the other Altered Beast modes and stuff. So very cool. Very, very cool. And that's it more or less. Oh, and one other thing. And I also got this blind bag of WWE finger wrestlers, I guess thumb wrestlers. And the only reason why I bought it was so these are blind packed, right? These are blind packed. Someone in the store went and opened up all of them. I think they were trying to get a Cody Rhodes or something. So I was like, well, since someone already opened it, well, excuse me, I'm just going to help myself then. So I just bought myself. It was already open, and Bret Hart was there. And I was like, well, I'm just going to go to the cash register and beep. So whoever went and opened up every bag of WWE thumb wrestlers at Walmart in Montreal, thank you very much for saving me the trouble. So... And the other, because you get two in a pack, I think Kevin Owens was the other one that was in this bag. So I got two Canadians in a bag. Works for me. Got a Bret Hart thumb wrestler. Let's put that on there. Yeah. Yeah. Everyone thinks I'm crazy right now. And that's it, more or less. That's it, more or less. That's it, more or less. Of stuff I got. Pretty simple, but again, the Megatron's the takeaway from all of it. Pretty cool. I dig him. I've been messing with him. He's been my despot for the past couple of days, so I dig him. He's cool. Yeah, Guillaume, I saw the blind bag belts. They're like slapperist ones. Unfortunately, there are no designs that really speak to me. I mean, if they did more of the classic belts, I might have been interested. But I saw those ones too. That display was next to them, but the guy didn't rip open those ones. So that was that. Sarah talking about bad movies. Revenge of the Fallen was a piece of slag, but the toys were the best of the best. Well, again, that's the reality of it, Sarah, is, regardless of the movies, if they're not good quality, if they are successful financially, that funnels money into toy development. Look how big the Revenge of the Fallen toy line was, how huge it was, and kind of the side lines that came afterwards of 2009, Reveal the Shield, Hunt for the Decepticons, which are kind of pseudo Revenge of the Fallen toy line items too. Look how much great stuff came out of that. All from a movie that generally people don't think is that great, but led to a lot of good product coming from it. So that's kind of the monkey's paw when it comes to Transformer product is you have to have sometimes this mainstream stuff that might not be palatable for us, but it does lead to great product. And Transformer fans, at the end of the day, we are toy collectors. We enjoy toy product. And it's the shows that dictate which toy products resonate with us. And again, going back to what I was saying about Mirage, now I saw Mirage in the show. I think I want to track him down, which is pretty cool. And I believe Mirage is a Walmart exclusive too. So if you're kind of trying to find him in Target, having difficulty. So yeah. Where are we at here? Guillaume, Wave 2 will come with Attitude Era valets. Really? Okay. Okay, well, if it's Attitude Era stuff, that I'll take a Smoking Skull belt or the big globe belt as we call it that The Rock had. I'll be down for that. Patrick Brown finally got the Godzilla Megatron this week. My only pickup. How was that? Because I love Kaiju Godzilla Godzilla and Kaiju to begin with, and I love Transformers, but that one, man, it was hit or miss with that head. Like the fact that they didn't do anything with the Grimlock head, and they could have done a really Godzilla flavored head sculpt with it. I mean, I'm kind of disappointed with that one. I also want to make a mention. I totally forgot. I made a note here. One moment. I want to make a mention because I wanted to have all the information correct. So we actually we lost someone just a couple of days ago from the Mecha community of people. Tomo Sakurai, who was the Japanese voice actress for Mylene Genus from Macross 7. She was the pink-haired girl, the main character from Macross 7, and one of the very first model kits that I ever built as a snot-nosed teenager. She passed away at age 57 of accelerated cancer. She had a lot of cancer in her organs and stuff, and she had accelerated cancer, and she's been hiding it all these years. And she passed away at 57 years old. And she was also Cynthia from Pokemon in the Japanese version, so she passed away. I wish I made a slide. I only learned this recently. Just been so busy over the past week or so. So rest in peace to her. It's such a shame to hear someone so young passing away, let alone someone so young that had her whole life ahead of her creatively and stuff like that too. So such a shame. Again, rest in peace, Tomo. That's such a shame, you know. Terrible, terrible, terrible. I wish I did a slide or something. Wish I did a slide. Sorry guys, just want to make sure I get everything there. But yeah. Yeah, Autovolt. Yeah, Cynthia was her voice in Pokemon. That was the other one that I was familiar with because she did a lot of stuff. She did one of the smaller characters from Kenshin too. Not like the main female characters, but one of the side characters from Kenshin. She was also that. Sarah says, I saw some Hasbro guys say why the Naruto collaboration is one of the best and why Godzilla thingy is Black Grimlock, but I don't have the context or more information about that. Well, I mean, that's all. I'm assuming when it's probably Evan that said the Naruto one is the best because Evan loves his Japanese shonen stuff. I don't know if Evan is a huge, huge, huge Naruto fan. I do agree it's pretty cool, the Naruto one. It's brand new sculpts from the ground up, and those sculpts, if used properly, could be used for future products, especially on the Beast side of things. So, and the packaging is really cool. I watched a good chunk of Naruto and kind of dipped out maybe after like the third year or so. Just didn't have time to watch it. But I mean, I appreciate it. It's cool. It has unique tooling, and it's not. I don't think it's bad per se. Um, it's definitely better than it's definitely better than the Godzilla one. That's for sure. It says here, why lag? Why Evan claims that it was due to the amount of funding of the collab company was willing to do. Okay, there you go. Well, that's another thing too. Is I mean, I don't know the Japanese side of things when it comes to the Synergen X line, but I imagine that yeah, some of those collab items probably involve a amount of investment from both sides. And I'm pretty sure maybe Takara's like, well, we already did our time and energy of the investment on the Transformer side of things. What is Toho going to do for their side? Maybe Toho didn't want to go too crazy. Maybe they didn't want to do a new head sculpt. Maybe they just wanted the robot mode head to be new or something. So the budget was what it was, unfortunately. And I mean, I think it could have been way better. And who knows? Maybe we will get something better in the future, or maybe something from third party. That does happen, you know? Why lag? Why repaint money versus remold money just put down by the collab companies? Yeah, that's just it. Well, again, it's the partial to go in and do brand new tooling is a lot more difficult and expensive than you think. The reality is a lot of the new tooling that we get of a lot of Transformer toys, they're not. It's not even new tooling. It's tooling that was there from the beginning. It's something where it's like if we got this Bull Megatron and somehow we end up with like a new one that has a brand new head sculpt that makes him look like, a G1 Predacon character or something like Headstrong. Um, to me, I just think that what usually happens is that Headstrong head sculpt is on there from the beginning. It's on the tooling from the beginning. Where to go in and make a new head sculpt and put it on the tooling is a lot more difficult and time consuming and money consuming to do that. So a lot of our repaints are planned from the beginning and we don't feel it as much, for lack of better words. T-Formers 2002, the Godzilla one actually has a scrap sludge head on the design because apparently Leader Class Sludge was using a heavily remolded engineer from Grimlock. Interesting. That I didn't know. That's the first I hear of that. I wonder how that worked out. I would love to see the original tooling on that. We got Merrill Fabrication with a $2 super chat. Who owns Sergeant Slaughter, WWE, Hasbro, or the actor? Sergeant Slaughter owns the rights to Sergeant Slaughter. Sergeant Slaughter was a wrestler long before the WWE was a thing. And that's what kind of created the conflict for years for Sergeant Slaughter and his IP because he was part of the WWE. And then they were going to do an LJN figure of him, and then what happened is he signed a contract with Hasbro, which at the time Hasbro did GI Joe. LJN was doing the wrestling figures. They were going to do an LJN Sergeant Slaughter because he signed with Hasbro to do real GI Joe stuff, and it was way more lucrative for him, even as a wrestler. It was way more lucrative for him to be working with Hasbro and doing that stuff than to be wrestling with the WWE at the time, WWF at the time. And so that LJN got scrapped. They ended up doing the Sergeant Slaughter figures that we know through GI Joe. Hasbro would end up releasing a LJN like Sergeant Slaughter LJN figure that was out there to also be purchased. And then what happened is LJN, the company that was doing the wrestling figures, went under. Hasbro ended up buying the license to do, and I have the Bret Hart here one. I always keep it on my desk here. They ended up doing the Hasbro a little dusty, the Hasbro WWE figures. These were in the 90s, and so because Hasbro ended up doing the WWE wrestler, Sergeant Slaughter was now back in the fold indirectly, and he was there for a bit. He came back during the late 80s and the early 90s after a little bit of an absence with the WWF. And then he stayed with the company permanently as I guess we'll call it a liaison and a agent in the background. And then he still owns his personal property. He owns the name and likeness of himself. So at different points, he would sell it to different companies. Valaverse did a figure of him at one point and everything. So as it stands right now, I remember him saying that he signed a 5-year contract with Hasbro, and that's why we got the crossover cup figure there. We got the crossover triple threat, triple threat, whatever, triple attack Sergeant Slaughter figure, Transformer crossover. We got a brand new Sergeant Slaughter uh, GI Joe classifieds. So he right now has a 5-year contract with Hasbro, but he owns the rights to his own name and everything. So he always will. He always will. Same thing with Bret Hart. Bret Hart owns the rights to his name. That's a just fix the mess I just made here. Ugh. That's something that the WWE now tries to be careful of because they don't own Hulk Hogan. They don't own Bret Hart. They don't own Sergeant Slaughter. So they learned in the 90s, oh, we got to every time we have a big wrestler come into our company, we got to make a name for them that's not their original name. That way we could own their name if they do become successful. Asuka is probably the best example of that. She wrestled for years under her real name Kana, and then when they brought her to WWE, they're like, we can't call her Kana because if she becomes popular and she wants to go somewhere else, she'll have all that equity as Kana. So they called her Asuka. And then that way, if she leaves the company, if she made a name for herself as Asuka, when she goes somewhere else, she won't have that name with her. And you see that all the time. Triple T, thank you. Thank you, Bruticus. Triple T. I don't know, triple threat. I had it in my mind. So they always try to own the names, but that old generation, they all own their names. Rowdy Roddy Piper, Ric Flair, Sergeant Slaughter, any of those guys. Macho Man Randy Savage is another great example. He owned that. Andre the Giant. I could go on and on. Anyone from that early all those guys I just named existed before WWF existed, at least in its incarnation that we know today. So that's kind of the long short answer of that. Sergeant Slaughter will always own his name. And that's kind of a detriment. Like it's, uh, Nuru, how did that work with The Rock? Well, Dwayne Johnson, great example. When he was first doing movies, so The Scorpion King and The Mummy 2, he still had one foot in the WWE world. And at the time, he didn't know if he was going to be successful. Vince gave him the permission to use The Rock as his name in the movies because his logic was, hey, if he's in these movies, it'll be free advertising for the WWE. As The Rock got more famous and bridged on and went to do his own thing, he started using his real name, Dwayne Johnson. And then now he always uses Dwayne Johnson. And you'll never see Dwayne Johnson use The Rock when it's outside of the WWE environment. Never, because they still own The Rock. They still own it. They don't own Dwayne Johnson, his real name. That's a different story. Not Asuka like Ava, Asuka like the wrestler. Asuka Kana. Lioness Asuka, based off of another famous Japanese wrestler back in the day, female wrestler. So, yeah, John Cena is a special case. John Cena is one of those examples where when he was going to be brought into, John Cena was being trained in Georgia Championship Wrestling under Jim Cornette. Jim Cornette gave him the name The Prototype. No joke. And for whatever reason, they didn't transfer that over to the WWE because it was a development program. This is before NXT. It was a development program, and they, instead of going with The Prototype, John Cena, The Prototype, they just went with John Cena. And I'm pretty sure they probably regret that because they probably should have kept like a name that they could keep. So John Cena is one of those rare examples. Randy Orton's another one. Randy Orton, because Randy Orton, the reason why they kept Randy Orton's real name was because of the equity of his name, because he's Cowboy Bob Orton's son. So they didn't want to change his name because then you would lose that value, You'd lose the value of what his name is and being able to market that. So there is sometimes a few of them, get away with it, but not always. El Kevo, what's up, El Kevo Proto? Any thoughts on the Jeffrey Scott alternate TF cartoon pitch coming out? Well, I saw a lot of that stuff. I can't speak much of it because I don't know how much of it is legitimate. I remember looking at it and going like, I need to talk to some people first before I have any. I mean, it looks cool, but I mean, There's a lot of stuff that's like what if really cool ideas that are hard to have an opinion of unless we actually saw it. Like a lot of movie ideas that never happened. Like all those Maximals that would have been. I mean, they're like, oh, look at all these Maximals that would have been in Rise of the Beast. And it's like, yeah, those are really cool. Don't get me wrong. But looking at how the other Beast characters and the Predacons and everything were handled in the movie, would it have been good? I don't know. Guillaume TKO gave him the Rock name Dwayne in 2023 when he joined TKO. Oh, okay. So I guess he maybe bought it back. That's what Hulk Hogan did. Hulk Hogan at one point was paying Marvel Comics to use the Hulk name. And then he finally, like, I think at one point he bought the rights to Hulk Hogan from Marvel when they were going through their bankruptcy in the late 2000s. So that's a possibility too. I wouldn't be surprised. Rock has more money than anybody. Dwayne Johnson has more money than anybody. He could easily buy it. So I guess when he joined the TKO boards, that was probably part of the agreement, if anything, monetarily. Wouldn't surprise me. T-Formers, it's fine. The name was just a prototype that had to be intentional. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Bruticus 42, rumor has it that Cena came out to start with the ruthless aggression, started with Kurt Angle. That was the last choice to say his real name. I guess, again, I'm not super familiar with John Cena's origin story. I've never been a big John Cena fan. Like I never hated him, but I never liked him either. He was always just kind of there. And yeah, I'm not a big, I'm not like a huge fan of his movies or anything. I mean, he was good as Peacemaker. I kind of liked that, but I never really go out of my way to learn like his origin story. The only thing that was funny about John Cena is go back and watch. He did an old interview with Howard Stern back in the day, and you learn about John Cena's bedroom proclivities. Let's put it that I learned way more about John Cena than I ever needed to know about that with Howard Stern. So go find that clip somewhere on YouTube. Patrick Brown, I disagree. Gold Fresh. Oh, sorry, what? Missing out stuff here. G.I. Joe movies don't perform to the Oh, so you were arguing with someone else. Don't perform to expectations and mixed bag with TF and well, look, just to jump in with that for a moment. You have this thing where G.I. Joe is a really tough brand to just bring to the modern audience. G.I. Joe survives heavily so by its old school fans. Classifieds survives by its old school fans. I was there at San Diego Comic-Con. Like the people who were buying Cold Slither stuff and G.I. Joe stuff, they were over the age of 40. No one who was under the age of 40 was buying G.I. Joe stuff. There was plenty of Cold Slither box sets left. It was what it was. T-shirts, not Funkos, Super 7 stuff they did. It is what it is. And I love G.I. Joe. I love Joe. I feel, hot take, I think the original G.I. Joe cartoon is actually better written than the original G1 cartoon. Maybe not the 86 movie, but the TV series itself. I love Joe a lot. But that being said, the audience that consumes G.I. Joe on the mainstream is non-existent. And G.I. Joe has a really spotty reputation with that, unfortunately. So to win over the mainstream audience, they've tried a lot of different things. They brought in The Rock with the movies. No one cared. They said, oh, maybe they want the ninjas, not the military stuff. No one cared. It's tough. It's tough. Like I literally challenge anyone of any walk of life, famous Hollywood writers, the most hardcore of G.I. Joe fans, and casual people. I challenge anyone to make a pitch of something G.I. Joe for a movie, and I promise you, none of them are going to find an audience. I think the only way you could get people to care about G.I. Joe is to do a G.I. Joe movie and bring in the biggest flavor du jour actors into it and get people to come just based on the actors. And even then, a Rock during his peak, a Dwayne Johnson during his peak, still didn't get as many people as we had hoped. And it didn't work out. So that's a tough one. That's a real tough one because I'm telling you, I pride myself on being able to do the business side of things and the writing side of things. The only explanation I could say is the only thing, because there's no story I could write that would be considered good or turn the tide. You would have to literally get whoever is the hottest actors in that moment in that movie. It would have to be perfect timing. And then you would get the ancillary views of those people who like those actors to go see that movie. And that would be the only reason. In the same way how Robert Downey Jr., coming off of that first Iron Man movie that did extremely well, he then did a Sherlock Holmes movie, and people went to see that Sherlock Holmes movie not because they like Sherlock Holmes, but because they like Robert Downey Jr. So it's one of those things where you just got to you have to gather a group of dudes that have a lot of notoriety, and people would be going to see the movie for those actors, less so because of the branding. Nururu, Expendables, but G.I. Joe. Dude, if you put together like everyone that was in the Expendables and make that a G.I. Joe movie, again, people would go to see that just because it's Schwarzenegger or Dolph Lundgren or Sylvester Stallone or, whoever would be in that's still, active. Like people would see it just based on that. And then the fact that it's a G.I. Joe movie is almost an accident at that point. But then what happens is then you set yourself up for problems because then if those movies do well, sequels would cost more and getting all those actors to return, it would be very difficult. Look, they brought in Bruce Willis and Dwayne Johnson for G.I. Joe sequel and no one showed up. It's tough. It's tough. It really is. And then you look at Transformers 1 had Thor and Black Widow in it, and Keel coming off of a Super Mario movie as Toad, and no one showed up. Now granted it's a cartoon and that's a little bit different than live action, but like I've said before, but you really need to stack that deck. So Patrick Brown, Proto Man, are you excited about the Mortal Kombat 2 movie? The trailer looks fun. Ooh, I don't think so. I'll be honest with you. A lot of people asked me that at Otakuthon. That trailer looks like it was a fan-made movie. Hot take. I want Mortal Kombat to always be successful. I love Mortal Kombat. Reptile's my boy. But that movie looked like something a bunch of fans put together. I'll be honest with you. It doesn't look like it's a high budget movie that's going like, and the acting too. Like the acting was like, I don't know. I don't know. That's just my take. Not too positive on that G.I. Joe movie. I'll be honest. G.I. on that Mortal Kombat movie. I think they should have. It doesn't feel like a big Hollywood movie. It feels like a super indie studio, YouTube movie or something. That was just my vibe. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know. I don't know. That's how it felt to me. That's how it felt to me. T-Formers 2000. TF1's cast was very stacked. Yeah, and that's the problem. Look, it was stacked and still nobody showed up. I honestly feel if they could have gotten away with not having Chris Hemsworth, not having Black Widow, what's her name? Oh my God. Scarlett Johansson, I think they could have gotten away with not having those actors getting more or less the same performances. And I'm not saying they didn't do a good job, but you would have gotten equally good performances from professional voice actors. And that could have lowered the bar of the cost of the movie, and we probably would have been in the green. But I understand their logic initially, bring in those big Hollywood Marvel voice actors and some of the people from the Mario movie that was the number 2 best-selling movie of that year when those came out, and trying to get that residual from it. Oh, I like, the Marvel movies. Hey, I like, Thor. I'm going to go see this Transformer movie. But because it wasn't them physically on the movie, the reality is both Chris Hemsworth and Scarlett Johansson are visual mediums. No one's watching them for their acting so much as it's for their visuals, whether it be the sexy muscles of a man or the slender body of a woman. Those were actors that people tune in for the visual. And that was the one thing that was completely absent was the visual. It was only their voices. So let's be real. That probably also didn't help it, at all. T-Formers 2002, the 86 movie, had a very similar Hollywood stack, and it turned out to say, oh yeah, 100% T-Formers. Everyone who was on that 86 movie at that point was definitely A to B list actor. Judd Nelson was coming off of Breakfast Club. Leonard Nimoy was coming off of the sequels of the Star Trek movies. I think it was the second movie at the time. And then you had Weird Al Yankovic doing the soundtrack, and he was doing all his music that was crushing it at the time. And then you have Robert Stack, which I believe was the Untouchables, was still like fresh in people's mind. Like, yeah, man, I agree with that. That probably didn't help, you know? That probably didn't help at all. So, Horned Owl, I'm really surprised to see they are remaking the Schwarzenegger movie Running Man. It's one of my favorite movies of his. Great cast, and even had Richard Dawson and Jesse Ventura. Jesse the Mind or Jesse the Body Ventura. Yeah, well, that's a classic, we talk about on the podcast all the time. Got to keep that trademark alive, you know. And now that we don't have DVDs that they could put out all the time to keep the trademarks alive, they have to do a movie instead. So, yeah, Brian Tyree Henry, man, his Megatron, talk about like the unexpected best part of the movie. He did an incredible job as D16. He did a fantastic job. Probably the best part of it, easily. Him and him and Chris Hemsworth. They had really good chemistry together. It was great. Tom Laney, Unsolved Mysteries. I think when did Unsolved Mysteries come out? I think Unsolved Mysteries came out later. No, did it come out? I have in my mind Unsolved Mysteries was like late 80s, like 88, 89. Because if I remember correctly, Unsolved Mysteries, maybe correct me on this, but wasn't Unsolved Mysteries created because something happened in Robert Stack's family, and then the show was created because of that? Or maybe I'm wrong. Or maybe I'm mixing that up with another like crime show or something, or mystery show. I have a vague memory of that. Sarah, I never understood why they didn't revive G.I. Joe after the Okay, well, Sarah, here's the thing. You want a fun fact that'll blow your mind? Here's a fun fact, okay? Devil's Due was the ones who brought back G.I. Joe to comic books after their long absence from Marvel. Look up G.I. Joe #1, Devil's Due, and the date when it came out. It'll blow your mind. That's all I'm going to say. Let's just say the timing was all too good. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm just saying the timing was all too good. What Devils Do. Oh, really? Interesting. Oh, it's America's Most Wanted. You're right, with John Walsh. I apologize, Rudy Mack. You are correct. I'm getting another white dude with gray hair doing a crime show. Oh, man, that's true. I got it mixed up. I don't know. In the back of my mind, I was like, I got it mixed up. That's correct. You're right. You're right. I stand corrected. I stand corrected. T form. Yeah, Orson Welles. Orson Welles, especially, man. Orson Welles had the John Voight role of the 86 movie. Just like how John Voight in the 2007 movie, John Voight is the seasoned actor, the seasoned, well-known older actor that brought some levity to the movie. That's what Orson Welles was. And John Voight, who was the president, secretary, whatever, of defense in movie 2007. Patrick Brown, The Long Walk does look very close to the story. Hope they nail it. I mean, again, I wish the best on these movies. I really do. Just because, again, the domino effect of what will come afterwards from it, Totally. John Hawkson, every time I hear Magnus in the movie, I always hear Unsolved Mysteries. I think we all do. Someone did a parody of that on YouTube. It was Unsolved Mysteries, but with Transformers. Who really shot Optimus? Was it Megatron or did Hot Rod take the shot? We look into it. Lawrence Fishburne was okay as Alpha Trion. I don't think there was enough lines to really make a difference. No joke. I think you could probably count it on two hands how many lines he had in the movie. And it wasn't like super memorable. It's more the facial animation with Alpha Trion that's more better. Like when D16 says I want to kill him, and you just see like the little eyebrow twitch from Alpha Trion. Like I think Alpha Trion's more remembered for just the visual stuff. I mean, no offense to Lawrence Fishburne, but I remember more just that. Sarah, so the Gamer Edition is dead before Leader Fall of Cybertron Grimlock was made. Let's go Spinos Shockwave. We'll see what happens with Shockwave. Let's see what happens with Shockwave. Lizard Sphere X, I hear the FBI agent from Beavis and Butthead Do America. I know exactly what you're talking about. Oh man, that's true. He was the FBI agent from that. That's a great movie. Like Beavis and Butthead, the TV series, is kind of hit or miss. It's a bit of a stoner show. It's a bit kind of dumb, but the movie Beavis and Butthead Do America, even if you're not a Beavis and Butthead fan, is actually a bit of a funny movie. It's pretty good. I actually saw it twice in theaters. I went to see it with a friend, and then we went to go to the arcade that was on the inside of the movie theater, and we were playing for so long. And this is a common trend with me, is a lot of times we go to the movie theater, we'd watch a movie, we'd go to play in the arcades in the movie theater, and then we were playing for so long that we'd be like, oh, wait, another movie's starting up. Why don't we just, slide in? And I remember we did that with South Park. We did that with, what was another movie that we did that with? I think the Fantastic Four movie we did that. A few different ones. But Beavis and Butthead Do America is actually pretty decent. Pretty good movie. A lot of funny little clips in that. I think it's on Paramount Plus if you want to watch it. I think they have it. It's really good. Yeah, see, Whiskey knows. I like playing the slots. You hear that, Beavis? Says there's a lot of slots in Las Vegas. For anyone who knows that line. It's a good movie. It's a good movie. Even Beavis and Butthead TV series, but the movie's good. The movie's good. Very well done movie. Again, Robert Stack's in it. Mike Judd does a bunch of other roles in that movie. Really good movie. Who's the voice actress for the woman in that movie? Was that also a well-known actress? Because I know there's like a female character in that movie that was like, I don't want to spoil, but like she's also a big part of the movie too. I watched that movie way too young. All the jokes went over my head. Oh man, I was like the perfect age. I think I was like late tens, early teenager years. Bruce Willis is in it. Was he in it too? Man, I don't remember. Whoa, we're gonna score. Love that movie. Great movie. It was Juliette Lewis. Okay. I don't. In my mind, I thought it was like some like huge, like the flavor of the month female actress. Tom Laney with Reactivate being canceled. Oh yeah, ain't that the truth? Now for a bit now, have we heard about any of the other Transformer games coming? I thought honestly that there was going to be some kind of announcement from San Diego Comic-Con, but none of that ever surfaced. I don't know. Like Reactivate, unfortunately, was a big ol' waste of time and money for all parties involved, for both Hasbro and the video game companies and the marketers. So that was like a big shame, if anything. I just hope that they do more. Was Juliette Lewis big in the 90s? I don't know. I'm bad with actors. What did she do? That was so big? I meant before as, oh, you're saying, oh, I see what you said for T-Formers. Yeah, I guess, yeah. Orson Welles is the old seasoned actor for 86. John Voight is the old seasoned actor for 2007. And Lawrence Fishburne is the old seasoned actor for Transformers 1. I guess you're right. Yeah, I could see that. That's true. And John Voight probably had just as many lines as Alpha Trion with Lawrence Fishburne. for sure. It's true. From Dusk Till Dawn, she was in it. True dat. True dat. Nuru, with AM Predakin coming out, how long before Hasbro's version comes out? Oh, probably a while. That AM02 Predaking existing is transparently saying Hasbro's going to take their time before they do theirs. You know, I mean, I even said it myself. I was like, I think I said this on the podcast a while back, how we had to have a Predaking sooner or later because it's been a while. And I said to myself, like, man, are they going to go the Transformers Prime route and do that Predaking? And then what are they going to do with the individual limbs as individual characters to just keep those going? And then, well, I guess AMO2 with that just said, here, hold my beer, Hasbro, we'll take care of it. And you guys got to understand that, like, Hasbro, their licensing department, works out deals with other companies that do them those solids. Like, people look at Funko Pop all the time and go, how does Funko Pop even survive with all of these licenses that they have? And granted, they lost a lot of money recently. I think they lost $41 million or something with their recent, I think it was their Q3 report or Q2 report, something like that. But a large reason of how Funko Pop survives is these companies will go to Funko Pop and go, hey, man, our license is about to go up. We're not doing anything with I Dream of Jeannie, Golden Girls, whatever. And they'll be like, we'll give you the license for free, but please do some product, you know? And they make it's free money for them when you think about it. Granted, they have to produce the item and put it together, but it's like, to not have to pay a license in some cases. Now, I don't think they're not paying a license with Hasbro. They're obviously paying for the Hasbro IPs because those are worth money. But I'm pretty sure Hasbro is cutting them an easier deal. And it's the same thing with Super 7 with Reaction and everything and the Ultimates. They're giving them a little bit of a leniency. So it wouldn't surprise me with AM2 and the Predaking, it's a similar situation where it's like, look, we ain't doing anything with those Predacons Generation 1 anytime soon. So if you did something, we'll take it easy on the license, and then you could do some other really good characters like the Rodimus and everything afterwards. So that's what I think. And it's not what I think also, it's a known fact with at least with the other licensors, because I've worked with different licensors with the Transformer brand, and I knew what happened on the back end of stuff. So that helps a little bit. T-Formers 2 it sucks that because Japan retail for Predaking is $250, but the import website for Big Bad Toy Store is almost doubled. Well, and also I heard that thing is not as big as people would hope too. It's kind of tiny from what I heard. So I didn't get to see it in person at San Diego, but I heard that it's not that big. I mean, it was at San Diego. That convention's way too big. I just didn't have time to check it out. But yeah, was it Demi Moore? Demi Moore was in it? Okay, Demi Moore I could believe more because she was probably coming off of Striptease at the time. Definitely that's flavor of the month for sure. Demi Moore I could believe. But yeah, we have 15 minutes left, guys, in our beautiful live stream tonight. Hope everyone is having a great time tonight. Just great hanging out with all of you, and just been great. Finally back doing the Saturday nights for a bit. Again, September, we're going to be at the Mississauga Toronto video game show promoting this bad boy right here. And we'll probably have some other stuff too by then, because then the Zero book will be out at the time too. So we'll be at that show. I believe it's the 12th or 13th. I am bad with dates. Very professional of me. The 14th, excuse me. The 14th of September, we will be there. So yeah. And doing autograph signings, selling the books. We'll try to get some extra inventory in time for that. So if you're in the Toronto area, check that out. Video game show run by the same people who run TFCon. Colin's running video game shows now. So I was like, okay, I'll be a guest there. Why not? Sure. So I'm going to be coming down for that. And then we have plans for something in Japan at some point. Right now, all of that's kind of on hiatus because Air Canada is on strike right now. So we don't know what the specifics are with that. So we have a Japan trip at some point. And then we have TFCon Chicago. Again, we'll cross that bridge when we get closer to that. We're still a couple of months away from that one in October. So we'll cross that when that comes. But yeah, that's it more or less. Supposedly it's near the same size as Superion for the AM02 Predaking. See, to me, like Predakings need to be bigger. Predaking has always been like the ultimate combiner of the G1 era. I always felt like all the Scramble City guys are the same size. Devastator could be just a smidge taller if he wants to be, or he could be the same size. But I always felt that Predaking needs a tower above them all. Like that was what was special about him. He was a combiner team that was created with the Decepticons and the Quintessons making something together. That's why all the Predacon members have different eye colors from the standard red. They have purples and reds and yellows because they're a fusion project. So they're special in that way, and they're not a Scramble City combiner because they don't combine in the traditional sense like Scramble City ones do. So that's kind of my own lore in my mind, but there's also a little bit of factual magazine information from Japan. So that kind of adds to it. Sarah, Snow Propane Tanker, Hank Hill collaboration. Now there's a revival. I mean, if people want it, if he's going to come with propane and propane accessories, I mean, I think I would want a Dale Gribble bug van with pocket sand for anyone that understands that reference. That'd be pretty cool. But yeah. Mural Fabrication just bought the 4 Beast Wars Funkos that came out. I'm not happy, but it's Beast Wars. See, I want them too because it's Beast Wars, but I just can't justify paying for Funko Pops. Maybe I'll get the Beast Wars Megatron, maybe, and that's it if I have to pick one. But yeah, Naruru, when I got the AM01 Hot Rod, I really thought the AM02 Preda King was going to be bigger. Yeah, that's what everyone keeps telling me. They tell me it's tiny. So that's where I'm going like, if you're going to be buying that to be in your collection, with your other combiners, I legitimately say just wait. I know you might have to wait 2 to 3 years, or get the Titan class, get the Titan class one from Combiner Wars. It's one or the other. That's the way I see it. Next to the next collab 2-pack will be Dale Gribble and Hank. Yeah, why not? Why not? So, but Hank would be just a propane tank? Would he be a barbecue grill? What would he be? Like Dale, it's his extermination van. But what would Hank be? Would it be Ladybird? Would he be a beast former? Ladybird, the coonhound, or I think it's a bloodhound or a coonhound. T-Formers 2002. Who saw the new KOTH? What's KOTH? What am I missing here? I liked it enough for what it was. What's KOTH? I don't know that abbreviation. Sure, he could be his pickup truck. That'd be kind of boring, no? Wouldn't that be kind of boring? Pickup truck? Maybe a pickup truck with a propane tank in the back. That could be his weapon that transforms. Alternator style. Oh, KOTH is King of the Hill. Okay. I didn't know. We're abbreviating King of the Hill now. Okay. I only saw clips online and I'm trying to avoid them because I actually want to watch it. I just haven't had time. I think the show debuted over Otakuthon weekend. So I just didn't have time to sit down and watch it. I will try to, maybe even tonight. Maybe tonight I'll try to catch it. I'll try to watch some episodes of it. I hope it's good. I hope it's good. A lot of times when they do these revivals, they don't transfer to the modern era well, So, but I hope it's good because classic King of the Hill is fantastic. Even if the Canada episode is terrible. They made us look like dickheads. My goodness. I was like, oh my God. Like those are some nasty Canadians for that series finale. Goodness. Not a good depiction of us at all, you know? And at a single point, no mention of hockey or poutine or maple syrup. I don't know. Either way. We got 8 minutes left, guys. Let's get some more super chats in before we call it quit for tonight. But yeah, put all this stuff back. I dig them. Compared to South Park, I like South Park a lot. I think South Park is always, but South Park, because it's so much easier. Number one, South Park's never stopped, so they've always just evolved with the times. And we use the boiling frog, theory, where it's so gradual the changes that you don't really notice it, especially if you've been watching consistently all these years, like I have. And they're always up to date. They have the pulse on pop culture, so they do good. You know, where King of the Hill, there was a big gap. So when you come back after that big gap, it's kind of tough. Still searching for some poutine, eh? Victory. Told you, come to Montreal. I'll give you the best poutine you'll ever have in your life. And then it'll ruin you on poutine forever because you'll never be able to have it again. Where are we at here? South Park's new season has been so ballsy. Again, I rather ballsy. I rather ballsy. I rather they do stuff that offends everybody than just like, play it safe and be boring. You got to be ballsy. Look, there's stuff that South Park does that even me, I go like, yeah, but then they do amazing stuff. That's actually quite factual, James, another Prime repaint did for the Target Prime with his trailer opening up. Oh, it's true. You could do the Target Prime. I could do that. Big Strickland propane truck, I guess. You could do a Strickland propane truck, and then inside is a deluxe class Dale Gribble, uh, a Dale Gribble extermination van that could go into the trailer, a la roller style, and then pocket sand, a blast accessory pocket sand. That's one way to do it. Wizards for X looks like Takara has my wallet. Love the modulator transformers, so seeing the option for modulator. Oh yeah, the Gal Geiger. Yeah, I saw that. That thing looks amazing. Gal Geiger's always awesome. I can't stress this enough. If you are a Transformer fan and you have not seen Gal Geiger, and more specifically its sequel afterwards, Gal Geiger Final, you are selling yourself short. We have no long form Transformer series right now. We have these 5-minute episodes of Cyberworld, these 5-minute episodes of Wild King that come out like once every 3 weeks. Since we have all that free time, take that time that you would have watched of a new Transformer series and go watch Gal Geiger. Any way you can. Japanese version. Original series of Gal Geiger, and then Gal Geiger Final, the OVA versions, not the grand, glorious, whatever version. Watch the original final version with the original music. Amazing. 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 Tom Laney just got Studio Series 86 Ultra Magnus. It's amazing. It is amazing. It was our first 86 Commander, and it was fantastic, and it gave birth to many more. Ravage repainted as Ladybird. I could see that. Why not? That'd be good. With those hound dog eyes. How could I say no to those hound dog eyes? Where are we at? Titans Return Octane. Steve, Titan Return Octane retool as Dale Gribble. Yeah. And you need, honestly, if we ever get the tooling for the ice cream twins, with the little ice cream on the top there, you could pull that off. Do that as a retool, and then it could be Dale Gribble and I don't know, and Bobby. I don't know, because you could do Dale's son, but he's not as well main as a character as Bobby Hill. So I don't know, like two pieces. If we ever had the ice cream twins as a 2-pack. because that like tooling would work well for Dale's truck a little bit. Or what's that? The pizza van there that they used for Stranger Things. Maybe that one could do that. Use the tooling from that one. So many ideas. So many ideas. Sarah, the cheaper collab is Transformers X Macross Jetfire thingy. Well, that's just a straight up repaint. That's the easiest one. Bill or Boomhauer? What would Boomhauer be? He'd have to be a tanning bed, and Bill could get away with being one of those repaint retools of those NFL footballs because Bill's greatest days were when he was a football linebacker. So, because Bill, but you need to have the beer belly, so you need to have like a, animated Ratchet kind of sculpting going on there. Tom, thanks, Proto, for a great podcast. Everyone, enjoy your weekend. Thank you, Tom, for joining us. We're 3 minutes away, and then we're almost done. 3 minutes away, but thank you, Tom, for joining us. Bill as a tank, he stole, and Boomhauer as an old muscle car that he fell into in the quarry. Yeah, sure, there was the muscle car that Boomhauer has a nice car. You're right. I don't know if people would get that reference, but people, those are like one episode kind of things. Nancy and John Redcorn. Ooh, that's a tough one. That has to be a combiner. That has to be a combiner where the combiner port doesn't work with Dale Gribble. And that'll be a deep cut. That'll be a deep cut on that one. Yeah, why are they not using the JP23? That would have been red alert, but then it never was. Completely thrashing all those ideas. Nururu, what about making them headmasters of their respective cars? I could see that. The problem with headmasters, that's extra tooling, extra planning there, I think the headmaster idea, while it worked for like the Street Fighter collab, because it was kind of topical at the time, because the Titans Return stuff was also on the shelves, both in Japan and in America. I don't know, to go that route that far out, you'd have to like do all that extra tooling. One head sculpt is usually 3 pieces if it's with a light piping, or 2 without. When you make it a headmaster, oh my gosh, you're talking 8 to 9 pieces, and then extra deco hits on that inside. Gets a little complicated, That's a lot of extra tooling and pieces and paint and assembly to have some Titan Masters or Headmasters, unfortunately. So I don't imagine they would want to go that route, even though it'd be cool. They just wouldn't want to. But yeah, that's it more or less, guys. We are at the 2-hour mark now for the pod. Thank you again for all the love and support. Thank you everyone who came to Otakuthon Montreal, picked up the comic. Thank you everyone who bought the comic at their local comic book store. Thanks to everyone who super chatted today. Muriel Fabrication, Rudy Mack, and then some. I want to make sure I don't miss nobody. Rudy Mack, and yeah, I think it was just the 2 of you and Patrick Brown, and T-Formers. Thank you for the super chats. Oh, and then we got one more super chat. Adrian Gracia with the $2 super chat. You were the last one, and then we are done. What are your top 5 beast mode picks for Shockwave? Okay. I'll answer it because it's a super chat, because I didn't want to say what I want from him. But if Shockwave had to have beast modes, I never really had to think about beast modes, because I don't think that was going to win, and it wasn't what I was going to vote for. But if it was beast modes, I really liked a lot of those amphibian and aquatic based stuff that I was seeing from fan art. There was a really good one of a whale shark Shockwave that had just the one eye, and it was scary looking as hell. That was really cool. I mean, let's go with beast modes that just haven't been done, or just haven't gotten, proper stuff. Like, we haven't gotten like a proper like elephant in a while. You have Ironhide from Tripredacus, and then if you want to count, Big Convoy, which is technically a mammoth, Like we never gotten any proper dog stuff outside of wolves and the few rescue bot stuff that would do the dogs that turn into target master elements. So there's a lot of wacky stuff that could be done. I mean, you have to think about it like so think about what encompasses shockwave before we make those decisions. Mono eye, logic, and gun singular arm. So what animal would convey those three elements? A mono eye, a singular arm that's not parallel to the other arm, meaning a blaster arm or something, and being really smart or logical. So that's where it's like, do you have a whale where his tail is the arm blaster? And because whales are really smart and mammals, maybe, you know, I'm stretching. Patrick Brown says octopus. That's a lot of blaster arms, but octopuses are really smart though, so I will give you that. They're good problem solvers. Um, yeah, there you go. Elephant trunk could be arm blaster. Yeah, maybe we were on to something there. So there's a few. There's a few that you kind of have to like. You think about the aspects of what is that character, and then how that transitions to what would be those other elements. Because you look at the alternators shockwave, which just was a straight up repaint because they took the jazz and they just did it purple, or Meister as it was called at the time. But it was like, okay, we're gonna take the RX-8, we're gonna do it in purple, we're gonna make sure he has his gun arm, we're gonna make sure it's purple or in the mono eye, you know. It is what it is. But it's like you have to like take those elements and see where they fit in. Um, but yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one for Beasts. For Beasts, it's a tough one because it's like anything you say, there's going to be a group of people that are going to be kind of like thinking deeply, like yeah, let's say he's a cheetah or he's a cat or if he's a dog or if he's a wolf or whatever. Like what a one-eyed wolf is there going to be like a wolf that lost its like eye and has a slash over it, a la what's it called there, Chiba, which was like an old wolf anime back in the day from the 1970s, where he was missing an eye. I don't know. That's a tough one. That's a tough one to answer. I don't know. But there is a few good ideas there, though. Horseshoe crab, dolphin. Dolphin's another good one. Where the dolphin fin could be the arm blaster. Jellyfish hasn't been a jellyfish. We've had squid, we've had octopus, we haven't had jellyfish. That hasn't been done. That should be a female character. I could see a jellyfish fembot. That'd be cool. That'd be cool to do that one. But yeah, that's a few of them. So I hope that answers that one. Thank you, Andrea. But yeah, thank you for all the love and support, people. Thank you for all the super chats. Again, we're going to call it quit for tonight. Made myself hungry just looking at that sushi and talking about it. So I'm going to probably go upstairs and grab myself a bite of something. And I think maybe I'll try to catch King of the Hill tonight. I'll try to catch it tonight, see how it is, see how many episodes I could get in. But go check out Cyberworld stuff. Pretty cool. I dig them. They're pretty fun. And this price point is affordable. Like this little, no bubble kind of plastic price point. What are these, like $9.99 in the state? They're $14 for us as Canadians, but I think they're like $10 in the States. I could do $10 for a bull Megatron. What a quick transformation. I dig it. And it's Wild King adjacent. So I dig that too, that they kind of complement each other. So there's something going on there that I like. But thank you for all the love and support. Thanks again for tuning in, and we will talk again next week on the next live stream. And I'll talk to you in the near future. Love you guys. You're awesome. Peace.